Welcome along to the EXFL Tier 2 Season 5 Spanish Grand Prix. We're here for round 6 of this brand new Tier 2 season on F1 22, and currently we are 7 minutes into the qualifying session. We see a McLaren in the wall there. I think that's Warren. Yeah, it's Warren because it's the only McLaren racing tonight. 13 drivers then. Seems like I think we had a driver who's trying to get in, but F1's not working for them. Seems like we've seen that in the past a few times. So that's really an issue the makers of the game need to sort out. But we're here, back live once again, round 6 at Spain, or is it Spain without the S for some of these drivers? At the moment, XD's the only driver so far this season to win more than one Grand Prix is on currently provisional pole by exactly 100th ahead of BCFC Josh. A further 1.6 seconds back is Smithy, and then making his debut today, 6 tenths further back, is Power of F114. I'll just call him Power. 5 tenths back is Tigo Biter, and then a further 16 seconds back nearly is Typical G, also making his debut today. So, I'm hearing reports that it should be a dry race with just over 10 minutes left in this session. Thies is going out once again as Josh has just started his second flying run. Warren obviously I think binned it into the wall. Chaz F1 and Kim Reynolds will both hopefully be trying to get Aston Martin back to the top after a dismal past few rounds. It hasn't really been the same season we thought it would be for them since Bahrain. But they're hoping in round 6, where Kim Reynolds seems to have found some confidence in that car and this track, hopefully, as he's on his lap now, will find it. Heading to a corner that a lot of people could get wrong tonight, as you lose traction in the rear. But heading through the new corner, the only new corner of this track now, turn 11, as he swoops up through the left right-hander. And he's just keeping the car in control within the limits of the track. And now through this twisty final and complex bit of the track. And this is where you can make or break your lap. Bounces over the curve, doesn't take too much, and he comes around the final corner now. It's a 1:17.6 he has to beat, and he comes across the line to this provisional pole for Kim Reynolds. It's P3, very close, separated between the top three, only 300ths between Thies, Josh and Kian. What about Chaz F1? That's not Chaz F1, there we go. Chaz F1, who's just started his lap, who's already passed the first sector, should I say. Rosia, P7 now in that Alfa Romeo, now being promoted to the Alfa Romeo full time for him. It's Typical's just going slowly, letting a car out the way, the Alpine of Power. Josh Crabtree getting some decent points in the last few rounds, and it seems like higher results are soon to come for the Red Bull driver. Arsenal will be hoping to recreate his highs of maybe P2 on the grid, just like Australia, but he's going to need to put in some kind of lap for that. It says he's purple sector 2, so who knows? And then X3BD, who's been consistent so far this season. It's what he's known for. He's tied with Chaz for being the most experienced Tier 2 driver of our league. So, as he's finishing the midway point of his lap, we'll see what he gets up to, but he's got a bit of traffic in front of him as Arsenal's spun, so that purple sector 2 has gone to waste. Chaz has done a 34.0, so he's messed up somewhere, he's backed off, or all of the above, but he's going to have to go again with only 8 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. As we will remind you, there's no formation lap, as we do not want to take the risk of there being a restart because we had that for the first 3 rounds. The last 3 rounds seem to have been alright though. So Typical now starting his lap now. Warren heading through the end of the second sector. Seb goes up to P4 there, but there's such a margin and a gap between P3 and P4 as Thies extends his advantage to 17.6, and Josh responds with a 17.7, only a tenth just over behind Thies. It is so close between the top 2 in the World Championship. 7 points separates them, 7 points separates victory and being the first loser of the rest. Kim Reynolds 3 tenths off at the moment, getting out the way of, I think, Smithy, who's nearly 2 tenths down on his first sector time. Power, I think, will be happy with 6 at the moment, but he's going again, and he's coming up across the end of the second sector, but Typical is right on the back of him, but he's found half a second nearly, so this could put him right up to 4th potentially. We're right on board with Typical. They're both doing push laps, and they're both separated by about 6 tenths, and I really don't understand that, but that's a bit wide from Power. But he's still finding time as he takes the final little chicane Very nicely indeed. One corner to go. Shortest run to the line for power. And he comes across the line for P4, as typical, snatches that away from him to take P4 by 6/10. He splits that margin. And that is P4 for the Mercedes. Apologies for that. 5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. The top three are in the pit lane at the moment. It's typical and Power are just on there in laps. Seb and Warren in the pits as well. Smithy, I think, is coming to the end of a bit of a push lap. I think this will be his second run, as most of the people are in the pit lane. It's a bit cloudy, a bit overcast at the Circuit de Barcelona tonight. I don't think there should be any threat of rain towards the end of the session, as Smithy has given up on that lap. He'll have about one run left, so that's the top 8 all in the pit lane. Tigo's just finished the lap, but it's an invalidation once again, but he's managed to get up to a 20.4. As Erosio, his teammate, has spun it in the final corner there into the gravel. He's just going to try and get back, and that's unfortunate because he's past the pit lane. Chaz F1 still in the pit lane and still last of the runners who have set a time. Josh Crabtree, who doesn't actually usually set a time in qualifying, he's actually been near the back for a lot of the races, who's currently in P12 without a time, and so is Arsenal. But he's currently on a lap, and this is the corner he binned it at, and this is this time he can make it through. So 3 corners left for the Williams. 1, 2, and oh, it went all nicely up until then, and now he's going to carry on still, but he needs that time on the board, and he could probably still get up to about 10th. Comes across the line, and yeah, he can definitely find time in the last sector. I think so. As out of the pit lane comes Chaz F1 for potentially his final run of qualifying. Can he put it together? Oh, you can just see how much they have to get into the tyres, even though it's surface only. As Tigo's now into the gravel. Seems like Alfa Romeo are really finding fondness of that substance. But it seems like I was saying, can Chaz F1 get that pole lap? Can he get the lap hooked up properly this time and get it anywhere up to where maybe his teammate is? The top 3 are very closely separated. Seems like it's a bit of a 2-horse race, the top 3 and then everyone else. We'll see. Josh Crabtree, the only driver now not to set a time, but he's coming across the end of sector 2 now. And it looks decent, 51.9. 1 sector left for the Red Bull. But he's got a bit of traffic coming up as we have just over 3 minutes remaining. As 17.1 I think is what they were setting in time trial, low 17, so these are good lap times, really good lap times from the top 3. It will take a lot for anyone else to try and beat them, but Josh comes across the line and he goes P4, he gets into the 17s as well, 11 thousandths. As Josh improves now to a 17.3, blinding lap, could that potentially be provisional pole for Josh? And can Thies now beat it with 2.5 minutes remaining in this session? Thies has one shot, who got his first pole position last time out. Josh going for that win after having 2nd places and a 5th. Will this be the night where Josh reigns supreme in the Haas? We'll wait and find out. What about Keane Reynolds? He starts his, I think, final flying lap. And if he messes up now, he might have one more chance. With over 1 minute and 17 to go. Bit wide into turn 1. And that's messed up his exit. And yeah, his whole lap is just backed off now. So he will go again in the final minute. I think that's it for Josh. Unless he has enough fuel in the tank. Thies has not come out yet. And neither has Arsenal or Erosia. Oh, Rosier's just there, and so is Arsenal and the Alpine of Power. So, just these then, as there he is. He will be the last driver to cross the line, and the first driver to cross the line will be Warren to start his final flying lap of this qualifying session. As they're all queuing up at the end of sector 3, Warren dives down into turn 1, through the apex of turn 2, and then round the long right-hander of turn 3, keeping it close to the curb but not trying to mount it, and going wide, make sure not to invalidate as he ends sector 1 there. He's lost actually a tenth and a bit, heading through turn 5. So here we go, Kim Reynolds now starting his final lap. As Josh has retired, that's it. He's done for this session. As that's it for Kim Reynolds as well. He's given up after the start of his final lap. That's it for him. So typical now, starting his final flying lap, passes the stricken car of Kim Reynolds, and he'll finish sector 1 now. What about Warren then? As we can see, he's still kept it within the boundaries, not invalid, and he's coming around the final corner now. He needs to improve. As Josh Crabtree now retires, so Warren crosses the line. It's P9 for him. He doesn't improve. So the only driver who can take pole position away is probably Thies, as he's just started his lap. Yeah, I got a bit confused there, but here we go. The start of Thies' lap and last lap in this qualifying session as he loses the rear a bit after passing Powers. Smithy goes up to P6 and passes the Alpine. Thies has lost time in the first sector. He's going to need to find a mighty 3 and a bit tenths now after losing time in the first sector. Typical will be 5th. Power's going to be 7th at best. Seb crosses the line. He takes 7th away from Power. Seems like Tigo is finding time. He will probably be P9. No, he won't. He'll be P10 at best. Arsenal passes Tigo now. Maybe he can get past him. Chaz F1, that's it for him. He's in P12. He's crossed the line. That's it for him. As Typical goes up to P3. What a lap from him. He splits Reynolds and Thies. P3 for Typical G on his debut. But what about Thies? He's 2 tenths down. It's not looking good for the Ferrari unless he can have a mighty final sector. As Arsenal goes up to P8, good on him. Drops Warren down to P10 and Power to P9. Is this the lap of all laps from Thies to get pole position? He backs off. No, it's not. It is Josh on pole for the Spanish Grand Prix. And I think that's all the lap time is done. So there's your grid as where's Tigo? I think Tigo's car is... Okay, it's ghosted. Phew. But yeah, that's it. Josh is on pole. Yep, Josh very happy with that lap. That's a really good lap from Josh to put it on pole position. Tigo hit the pit wall, that's why. We're just waiting for Erosia to retire, and then we can continue into the race. So your grid rundown. BCFC Josh takes pole position ahead of these. The top two in the championship reversed for the front row. Typical G on his debut, putting that Mercedes up in P3, very impressive ahead of Kim Reynolds, who will be a bit disappointed on the second row. 11 thousandths clear of Josh Crabtree, who takes his best qualifying of the season in the top 5. Smithy P6 will be accompanied by 7 Arsenal behind him. Power of F114 will start his debut from 9th on the grid. Warren will round out the top 10 with Tigo, Chaz F1 and Erosia completing the rundown. We're about a minute away from lights out in Barcelona. Let's hear your predictions in the chat. So it's all going to be down to who can come back today. Chaz F1 from P12, what can he do? It's a long race, 33 laps ahead of us, so it's going to be, I think, a 2-stop for this race. Not sure exactly what compounds people are going to be starting on. Maybe the hards, mediums. We'll get into it during the race. But we have a 30-second window to predict before the lights come on. And then they go out. Sunny, as you can see in the pit lane. And we just wait 20 seconds before the lights come on. Who will reign supreme in Spain? We're about to find out. Another turn of the page in this chapter of the World Championship. We're here for round 6 in Spain. And we're all ready for the race to begin. As the lights come on, 3, 4, 5, in Barcelona. We're underway as Josh gets away well ahead of Thieves. Typical G seems to get some understeer. That allows Kian Reynolds to swoop past him, the Mercedes, and get in the slipstream of Thieves. But Josh leads out in front as Kian's going to try and challenge Thieves down into turn 1. He sends it on the Ferrari and he gets up into P2, but Thieves has to go wide across the track. Josh leads out and Thieves regains the place ahead of Kian, ahead of Typical, and there's a yellow in the back. That's Warren down to P13, and Chaz is battling Arsenal, who's got a bad start. But Kian Reynolds back ahead of the Ferrari now up into P2. Typical remains in P4. Josh Crabtree keeps his position, as does Smithy. Seb, but up in front, Josh and Typical. Typical on those hards, not getting the greatest getaway, and that allows Josh up into P4 on those mediums. But Josh has got away perfectly. Kian Reynolds from P4 gets up into P2 as we're looking further back, making sure all of them have managed to keep it facing forward. Not all of them, because Seb has spun near the back, and that's going to allow Warren to have a little battle with him. So they've all made it through sector 2, no one out yet, but Smithy going for a move. Typical's dropping backwards, he's losing places and he's going to keep his nose in there, but Smithy holds it round the outside to take P5, and Typical has gone from 3rd down to 6th on those hard compound tyres. We'll look at the tyres now and enable. We don't really need. Oh, go on then, we'll have it. Right, we end that one, and that explains why Kian Reynolds has had such a good start. He's on the soft compound tyre. He's already on the back of BCFC Josh for the lead of the race. These had to go wide at the exit of turn 1 and regain the place, but he gave it to Kian. Or Kian just got much better momentum. But it seems like it's a bit of a clean start. A few trip-ups here and there for Seb, as Chaz and Arsenal battling away there. I think he was off the track, but he's managed to gain 1 place from Seb and Warren spinning out, but he's going to send it on Arsenal for P10 in this race. Arsenal goes a bit wide. Chaz cuts some grass and he taps the side of Arsenal, and that's him round. Another collision for Chaz F1. Oh, and Power of F11 has also spun. I don't know if he made contact, but I think that may be just a spin for the Alpine. But now he's down in Plumas. 4 spinners in the opening 2 laps of this race. 9 left. Arsenal 9th. The 2 Alfa Romeos in front of him. Ahead of Typical, the only hard run at the moment. Sticking with Smithy, and hopefully the race will come into his own later on, because it has not been a good start for him. Josh Crabtree 1.7 behind Thieves, just keeping with Reynolds, who's right on the charge and waiting for DRS to open to get behind the rear of BCFC Josh as he starts lap 3. DRS is activated. We got a yellow further back, and that is Arsenal, who's made a mistake, and he gets just ahead of Seb. And he's going to be wheel to wheel with him heading into the final corner as Arsenal makes contact with the Haas, and Seb has to back off. And that allows Warren to get in on the mix and goes down the inside. It's a 3-car battle for P9 as they're all going to shuffle their way. And who's going to make their way out in front into P9? It's going to be Arsenal, but sending it out of nowhere is Warren for P10. And he cuts the corner, he has to go off it a bit. And they both made mistakes. And Seb is watching this as Warren's hit the back of Arsenal, and Seb says, thank you very much. That's 2 places for me. And there's Chaz F1 spinning again out in turn 3. It's all chaos and carnage as now Arsenal and Chaz are back being 12th from 13th. Warren up to 11th. Howard 10th. And Seb 9th. These 5 are really giving the spins in Spain a good name as the top 8. Look at the gap, 8 seconds. Typical. Not using much ERS compared to Smithy, who's used 60% already. He's just keeping cool on those hards, keeping clean and staying within a second, as Smithy is out of a second behind Josh at the moment. And so is Thies at the moment, but he's gained a bit of time. So it's around the same gap as it was, 6/10 between Kian and Josh. Josh has more than Kian. Kian's really wanting to get a move on. And now we're going to see just how powerful his setup is. Is it going to be like Miami? He's gaining and gaining and gaining, but it's not quite enough on this lap. Maybe next time out, the Aston Martin will probably be ahead of the Haas. But will it be a 1 or 2 stop? That's all. It's all about strategy today. As closest battle. Oh, Chaz and Warren. The 2 Alfa Romeos. What's happened? I think Tigo's just made a mistake. I think Rosie's carried on. Warren's, though, has made a mistake or been tagged by one of them in front of him. But Tigo has now dropped down to P9. That allows Seb. That's how much time he lost. Over 10 seconds. Another yellow for Power. He's had a spin at the exit of 2. That drops him down to P12. P4, lap 4, and we've already seen about 10 spins. The tyres are not going to be liking that. So then there were the top 7 who haven't spun yet. We'll keep track. It's Spain, we may as well. But you can just see on the minimap the gap between the top 6 to Rosie and then everyone else. It's just, he's in a bit of no man's land at the moment. Oh great, Tigo made a mistake again, and then that's going to allow Chaz to gain right to the back of the Alfa Romeo. And we got a yellow. It's typical G as Kim Reynolds takes the lead of the race ahead of Josh. Josh must have made a mistake, but that allows Josh now to get the DRS. And this is a proper battle for the lead because Josh now has used up all his ERS as Warren gets the first penalty of the day. And Josh is gaining on the Aston Martin, and it's not enough to send it down the inside. It's now out of nowhere. Thies now sends it on Josh and takes back the stranglehold of P2 ahead of his championship rival. But Kian Reynolds now leads out ahead of Thies, ahead of Josh, who's gone from 1st down to 3rd in the space of about 40 seconds. Josh will... the other Josh is just calmly in P4 as Warren has made another mistake. That's what no practice does. As a typical G, I thought made a mistake. And Erosia has now made a mistake, and it's all happening everywhere. I've lost count already. I think it's... I really don't know, but yeah, typical G must have made a mistake. He's lost 7 seconds to Smithy, so definitely a mistake for him. And Seb and Erosia, so yeah, top 5 now remain in terms of who hasn't spun yet. But I think we've got to keep our eyes glued to the top 3 battle, because Kian Reynolds might run away with it, but his softs are going to wear out faster than Thies and Josh's. So this is a real fight, and Thies is sticking with the Aston Martin, and he's going to try and lunge a move, as he's got so much more ERS as well to the Aston Martin. As Chaz F1 makes a move on Tigo Bayo. No, he doesn't. He just gains the position because Tigo has messed up again. But here we go, riding on board with the Ferrari. He's got the slipstream, he's got the toe, he's got the DRS. He pulls that around the outside, and can he get past the Aston Martin, who sends it deep and keeps hold of P1 for now, as Josh is just watching all this unfold, keeping control of his tyres and making sure he doesn't ruin them in the rear and dirty air behind the top 2 as Thies sends it on Kian, and he's still going to go wheel to wheel with the Aston Martin. This is what we want to see, proper battling. They're wheel to wheel, the Ferrari, the Aston Martin. Kian sends it deep, and he's going to signature that off and hold off to P2 as Josh tries a little look down the inside on the Ferrari, but can't quite get past. This is a great battle for the lead. All 3 separated by about 3/10 as we enter the end of Sector 2 now. Can any of them send a little lunge down the inside? Not quite. Thies, who looks a bit closer than he does to Josh. And they're going to have to wait around as Kian Reynolds has gone a bit deep there, but they're going to have to wait around for the straight, I think, at this rate. Josh a further 3 and Smithy a further 3 behind him. We're going to approach lap 7 now, and the top 3 are separated by barely anything. But around a second now is Kian just maintaining his gap, but Tigo's now down in last. I think he pitted. He did pit as Warren makes a mistake. Tigo makes another mistake. But here comes Thies now, using all of his ERS. He's used everything, but he's going to send it on Kian Reynolds as he's taking a deep line, and Kian Reynolds has to concede the position as Josh is going to try the switchback now, round the outside, but can't quite make the move as he's nearly hit the back of Kian. That was so close to taking out one of his rivals in the race. But Thies now takes the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. Kian just has to sit behind, and he's nearly going to lose a second to him nearly, as Josh just has to back out. Kian really has much more confidence on the brakes, being able to send it deeper than anyone at the moment. And he has to now keep within a second of Thies as they're coming up to lap Tigo. Yeah, wow. Lap 7. New record, I think. 8 tenths between Kieran Reynolds and Thies then. Seems like Reynolds' tyres are already dropping off a bit. That's going to be interesting to see how Josh, who was the pole sitter, has lost out at the moment. He's got to clear that Aston Martin as soon as possible. As Josh makes a mistake! He's spun! And that's going to allow the other Josh to get into P3. Josh has made a mistake. The pole sitter has gone from first down to fourth. And that has really opened the field up more as he's now made a spin. So that's only Smithy in the top 3 remain who haven't had a spin. Kin does about just have DRS, but he's not really gaining much. He's just only under a second behind. As these may even get DRS from Tigo if he plays his cards right. Let's take a breath. 8 laps in. These is the race leader. As Tigo is. Oh, there's Josh now! And one by one they're making mistakes. And that only leaves Smithy in the top 2 now who haven't spun. Josh has made a mistake, and that allows BCFC Josh to regain P3 in this race. The race of spins. So far, it's only Thies, Kian and Smithy who haven't spun yet. As Arsenal and Power are making a move. Arsenal's coming out the pit. No, he's not. He's making a legitimate move down the inside. The Williams goes past the Alpine, but the Alpine's going to fight him back and going to try round the outside. He's going to switch to the inside, and now Alpine has so much more traction to get back ahead of Arsenal for P10. That was a great battle as he keeps hold as Josh now gets a penalty. He's been pushing his luck, and that's the first penalty of the top 3. As Arsenal and Power still battling as Arsenal gets back ahead of the Alpine. Good battle, good overtake, I'm guessing that was. Josh is going to have to hope for the top guys to get penalties then, because at the moment it's falling apart for him. Kim Reynolds 1.3 further back. They have lapped Tigo, so Tigo on those softs could prove to be a bit of a nuisance if he's trying to unlap himself. Kian, who's finished pit. Oh, we'll note that as Josh is into the pits. A potential undercut. Is it the hard compound tyres? It is. So potentially he's going to the end, and he's changing his front wing. Kian, who finished P3 in his first ever Tier 1 race, which was here at Spain. As Erosio does get past Seb for P6 now. Kian, who got P3 on his debut at Spain, who got P2 here last season. He wants the victory this season, but he's going to have to try a lot of tactics with his gambles if he's going to try and regain that lead from Thies. Chaz currently in P8, 13 seconds off the next car. He's going to really be hoping for a safety car, as his teammate is just finished Sector 2, as he's not even done Sector 1 yet. 2 seconds now. Kian Reynolds' tyres are really wearing off, as it's all looking good for Thies at the moment to take a comfortable 3rd victory of the season, but we know a Ferrari in Spain trying to go for that 3rd victory of the season, and it didn't turn out well. Charles Leclerc in Spain in real life, it did not happen. So, is that a bad omen, or will Thies be able to break that stereotype and come home for a 2nd victory back-to-back in a row and the 3rd of the season? As Arsenal gets a 3-second penalty, Kian Reynolds just losing time, and that's why Tigo's unlapping himself, and that's going to annoy Kian. That's going to get in his way. It's going to give him a bit of DRS, I think, if it did help him along the straight. But Kian Reynolds really not happy at the moment. It seems they're all spaced out. The biggest battle is really between Arsenal and Power, as Josh is trying to break free of the 1 second. And I think he's done that. Yep, just about on the Williams, who won't get DRS, as Power does. So he'll be able to gain quite a bit. They've saved their ERS for the front. They haven't really. Kind of actually. They've saved a bit, but the gap is now 3 seconds. Kim Reynolds is just losing time. Hand over fist here to Thies. He's going to have to pit now. And you never know, it's Tier 2. We could have a safety car right at the end. We're into double digits now. Lap 10 of 33. Thies just leading the way out now. Well, and let's see if Kim Reynolds pits. Final few corners on those soft compound tyres. Is he in? Yes, he is, as I predicted. It's going to come in. I'm really not sure what tyres he'll put on. Potentially hards, but if he puts mediums on, then he's going to be really aggressive in this next stint, as he was in this. So we'll find out. Is it the hards? So he'll be trying to go to the end then. Same with Josh. Josh is just coming through turn 13. So Kian will be well clear of Josh after that spin he had. So will he get out ahead of Erosia? Has he timed this just right? Yes, he has. The Aston Martin gets ahead and stays ahead of the Alfa Romeo, but he's still going to give a bit of a fight to the new tyres. Oh, as Erosia tries to save it, and he just about, without spinning, but he's lost a lot of time doing so. But what, I think that's deserved of a well done, of a save from Erosia. But he's lost a place in doing so and lost about 5 seconds because of it. Good save though. Last week's masterclass strategist, currently running P7 at the moment. Smithy running P3 obviously because Reynolds has pitted. Double G. How long can he go into this race? Because he's, if we check the leader, 17 seconds off the lead, so it will be interesting. And it will also be interesting to see if Kian and Josh can make those tyres go to the end. There we go. Closest battle on track is still Power versus Arsenal. Right on board, they're using their ERS to try and get closer. Hopefully that should be better. Let me know if the crackling stops. Apologies. So we got a yellow, and that is Typical. Typical has made a mistake. He's spun. That allows Kian Reynolds to get up in the P4, and maybe Seb to close in as well too. But Typical has spun, and hopefully the crackling stopped. Nice, awesome. Right, it has stopped. So Typical making a mistake, and that has lost in P4 to Kian Reynolds, who's going to try and push for the undercut. Let's check. 24.6 seconds to the leader. We got a yellow, and that's his teammate, Chaz F1, who's spun. Turn 3 is just not his best friend at the moment, as he's lost a place, I think, to Josh, and just behind him is Arsenal. As Smithy now gets a penalty, along with Josh, who got his earlier. So we'll keep an eye on that gap. 24.6 to Thies. I'm not sure how long a pit stop is, so we'll have to make note of who goes in the pit lane next. Smithy. Can Smithy help? No. Okay. Kian Reynolds just ahead of Seb. Oh, that's very wide, and that's probably a warning for the Mercedes. Seb all over the back of the Mercedes, and he will get DRS now. But he's probably not close enough to try and mount a challenge at the moment. Power seems to be dropping off as Arsenal spins from the curb in the final corner. And that drops them down to 11th. Warren and Tigo, they're actually quite close on track. I've just realised. Tigo just over a second behind the McLaren. So they'll be battling for P12 at this rate as they're lapped. So they're going to have to hope these to pit and then a safety car if they want to have any say of points, unless a few retirements come along. Oh, Chaz has spun into the nearly into the barrier. Same corner, 1 lap later. It's not going well for the winner of the opening round. It's down to P11 now, and it could go worse. It has gone worse. As Erosia has now made had a spin. No, Tigo has had a spin. As Chaz is into the gravel again. He's lost his whole front wing. As Josh is now into the pits. So 24.7, it's staying at the gap. The gap is not changing between Thies and Kian. But Josh is now into the pits. He's putting hards on. He will go to the end of the race. There is Kian. Kian has got ahead of the Haas. Just about. As Josh will now push on those fresher tyres. He will have more pace towards the end of the race. Got another yellow. Not sure where it is. I think it's cleared. He's now in P4. Smithy will pit soon. And so will Thies. Currently leading out in front, no mistakes at the moment. Smithy a further 16 seconds back. He pits now, he'll be about P7 I think. As he's coming up, he's just lapped Warren. So I think Thies may pit this lap, could be wrong. Chaz is out, he's gone into the pit lane and he has given up. That is his race over. So It's not this race where he has to come back. It will unfortunately have to be Monaco or the race after, of course, Monaco. Next time out, the 200th Grand Prix of EXFL as a whole, Tier 1 and Tier 2 combined, as these, like I said, does pit for the hard compound tyres. It looks like it is a simple medium hard, as he'll come out. No VSC or safety car at the moment, as Smithy takes this upon himself to pit as well, as we've got a yellow from Tigo, I think. Yeah, he's coming in the pits. There's Cian Reynolds, and Thies rejoins the race just ahead of him. Well, not just ahead of him, actually nearly 5 seconds in front of Cian. Cian lost a lot of time. Josh behind him with a penalty, typical in P4. With no penalty, Erosia right on the back of typical. Still hasn't pitted yet. So is typical actually. Smithy will be on the back of them soon probably, as Seb has just pitted for the hards, and he'll come out behind Power and ahead of Arsenal. In P8 we got a yellow. Again, Alfa Romeo. Tigo. Don't know why Tigo's ghosted. I think, is he being lapped? Chaz is lapped, okay. Don't know why Tigo, oh that's why he's being lapped, okay, yeah. Because Power's just lapping him now. So, 4.1 now, Cian to Thies. He's gained quite a bit of time. Seems like Cian is comfortable on these tyres. But you can just see how much more comfortable Josh is, as he's really gaining and using a lot of his ERS. You can tell to Cian. Tigo's out! Could that be a potential safety car? Could that be Thies' lead? Wiped out! It is! It is a safety car on lap 15. And that has brought this race right back into play, with Cian Reynolds now being be able to be on the back of Thies. And typical pits, he takes this upon himself, and he's going to have to put mediums to the end then. So is Erosia. He'll be able to put the hards on and go to the end. Arsenal drive through for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, speeding under the safety car, not in the pit lane. He won't be able to do that until after the safety car, unfortunately. Power takes it upon himself to pit. Will any of these lot decide to pit? There is a big enough gap to Smithy, who's just past the safety car. Josh could get a free pit stop if he wanted to. And so could Cian. And I know some of these guys listen to me, so Josh, if you're listening, could put the mediums to the end. I don't know about Cian, he would lose track position to Josh. Josh does have that penalty, so maybe it's worth the risk. Not sure about Thies, who's literally just pitted for hards, so not sure how easy it would be. This will allow Warren, I think, to unlap himself. But yeah, this brings everything back into play. We're going to get a lot of action as we reach halfway in this race, as they keep it to their delta, and we'll see now who's going to take a gamble, and if there is a big enough gap between Josh and Smithy. Thies stays out. He's going to the end on those hards. He is. Yes, Cian. Yeah, he pits. Cian has taken the gamble. He is going to pit for the mediums to go to the end. He's going to be on the quicker tyres, and will he get out ahead of Smithy? This is very critical to see if the Aston Martin can pull a masterstroke here and gain the quicker compound. He's putting on the mediums, he's used the softs, he's used the hards, and now he's going on to the mediums. And will he get out ahead of the AlphaTauri? Smithy's coming down the straight now. He's flying, he's saved up enough of his delta, but he's not, never mind. He's having to slow down a right lot. And this is going to allow Cian to get up into P3 easily, as Smithy and Josh are pretty much stopped. Cian Reynolds only losing track position to Josh, who has a penalty, remember. May have just pulled a masterstroke here, because he's on the mediums, he's on the quicker tyre to Josh and Thies. And Warren 5 seconds for ignoring yellow flags. We'll check the warnings. Why don't... Oh, what? There we go. Thies. Thies is a clean boy. What about Josh? Oh, we know Josh. Never mind. One warning. That for lap 15. Cian, yep, exceeding trap limits. And lap 15. Cian, exceeding track limits. So Cian Reynolds is one warning away from getting a penalty himself. So he's really going to have to as he catches up to the back of the pack now. I don't know what Smithy and Josh were doing. They were pretty much stopped at the line. Maybe to keep Delta, but yeah. This is going to help Typical as well. He's also the other medium runner. Only one lap, so he's going to really gain. Don't know about his penalties. Arsenal put the softs on. He's got a long way to catch up. I think the one who's got the longest way to catch up is Warren. He puts the hards on. Don't know if that was the best strategy. It depends how many sets of tyres he has left. But it really depends if he can catch the safety car. Finishing sector 1 as the pack of just entering turn 1. So Thies is your race leader from Josh, the top 2 on the grid and in the championship, swapped around in the order. Kim Reynolds P3 on the mediums now. Smithy P4, who's been one of the most consistent drivers this season. He's up there as well. The top 4 are all fighting for this World Championship, as is Josh, gaining slowly but surely on these lot. He could gain a few positions if some carnage happens. Herosia, who finished P2 last time out with that masterclass of a strategy. Kim Reynolds could be taking inspiration. Typical G, P7 at the moment. On those medium tyres, he'll be hoping to get a few moves in. Seb will hopefully be hoping to pick up the pieces and score some more points. Power, in his debut, still P9. I think that's where he started. Position change. Yeah, thought so. Arsenal P10, currently a point at the moment. But on the soft compound tyre, I really don't think he'll be able to make it to the end with those. But we'll see as he's into the grass. There, he's trying to push to catch the safety car before they hit the line. Warren, I really do not believe will catch the safety car at this rate. As they're passing the end of sector 2. Yeah, he'll stay out for another lap. All the more it stays out, the better Kian Reynolds can look after those tyres. So who do you think will win now? Give us your top 3 in the stream below. This is going to be hotting up. Kian messages me, ultimate strat. He knows, he's gone big brain for this. He wants that win, he wants the pattern to be fulfilled. Thies is going to have to get his elbows out, as is Josh. We know these 3 have had some battles over the seasons, and even today is no what's the word? Is no exception. That's the word. Yeah, even today is no exception. Their battles were great in the opening few laps, and we know how Kian is at reactions and starts. He gets good ones, especially with the mediums. He's going to have his much more rub it in as the safety car will come in on this lap. So we're going to have 14 laps of running from lap 20 to 33, including the lap. It seems like Warren may actually just be able to catch the pack. Oh, Warren into the gravel, really trying to push to catch the pack, but he's going to be on hards and he's really not going to gain much. Should have probably taken the medium strat like Kian, but we'll see what he can do. At the moment 11 remain, so one of them will not be getting points. That one at the moment is Warren. But you never know, it could be P10 if Arsenal has to pit, as that's a penalty under the safety car for Warren. 6 seconds. Oh yes, of course, Arsenal also has a drive-through, so I think it is P10 for Warren. I think that's solidified. Because he has to drive through, he has to change tyres. Unless he can really take those to the end, that would be quite something. We'll keep it on we'll keep it on tyres, pens. We'll keep it on tyres, why not? Safety car is in this lap, as Warren will just about catch up the pack. What is it? Track went green then, that scared me. I thought they could go racing now. Thies is going to have to make sure to get a good restart to leave Josh in the dust to battle with Kian. Or is he thinking, drag Josh along so Kian can't overtake him? Who knows? Warren has caught the back of the pack. Let's go. So, 11 drivers, 14 laps. These slowing them down. Making sure not to slow too down. Making not sure to speed up and slow down too much. Josh trying to get alongside. Kim Reynolds is behind them as we go underway now, and racing resumes. As Kim Reynolds actually hasn't had the greatest getaway. Josh is within the vicinity of the Ferrari's gearbox, and he's gaining in the rear, he's gaining in the slipstream. Thies goes defensive. Josh is going to break around the outside. He's going to try and take the lead from Thies. He backs out very smartly, and he has to settle for P2 at the moment. That was a brilliant attempt at trying to take the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. Kian just has to hold P3 as Smithy's all over the back of him for in P4 at the moment. They've all regained, all stayed in position, but Typical's now trying, as typical of him, to try and get Erosia round the outside on the medium tyres. Erosia's going to leave in the space. Typical round the outside. Brilliant move from the Mercedes. He's up in a P6. As Power's now lost the position to Arsenal on those soft compound tyres. That's the one advantage he has. He's going to be quicker at the restart. But now, Kian Reynolds gets his third warning. So that's it. At the moment, Thies is going to win if he keeps within 3 seconds of these two, even if he's not P1. So, the 3 behind him all have a penalty, and Thies is a clean boy. He doesn't have any warnings at the moment, the last time I checked. So we're going to start lap 21 now, the pack all close together. I still believe Typical could get P2 at this rate, because he's on the back of Josh, and he's just got so much confidence in the corners with those mediums. But now, we're on to lap 21, Thies trying to break the toe, as they race down into turn 1 for the 21st time, as Arsenal's in the pit lane. I think he's serving his drive-through. He is indeed. Thies then leads them away, and it seems like it'll keep the race will stay how it is for now, as they're all pretty much separated by the same amount. We're telling Josh and Thies to work together. When Josh tried it round the outside of the Ferrari, he was not taking any prisoners and smartly knew when to back out when overtaking him. Kian's just going to have to hope and pray Thies gets a penalty and also not push too hard on those mediums. I'm going to hope for a mistake, because remember, Thies and Kian and Smithy are the only drivers to not make a mistake so far in this race in terms of the spin. Smithy really not getting to grips at the moment. He's just losing time. Josh behind him. Typical right on the back of him. And when DRS activates, I think he'll be clear of these two in about a lap or so. But he's right on the back of the Red Bull. He's using much more ERS than him. And Smith even more. So it seems like the top 3 are separated by about the same amount. Thies sets the fastest lap, so he's really giving it. And he's broke a second to Josh, which leaves him vulnerable to Kian, because Josh will not have that extra helping of DRS. Typical not quite having enough as Arsenal's out. Could that be another safety car? Because he's retired. I don't know how. Probably crashed into the barrier, but at the moment, no safety car, no BSC. And then there were 10, so everyone will get points at the moment. 2/3 of the way through this race, Arsenal is out, along with Tigo and Chaz. Thies leads 1.2 ahead of Josh Kian, 8/10 behind. He's not using his ERS, he's saving it, as Josh is on 16%, and so is Thies, 6%. These two are really using everything they got. Kian is waiting patiently, and he's now going to pounce and use his DRS and ERS to close within 5/10 to Josh, and to try and get him on the straight. Remember that Miami setup he had. Adam, I think, said he reached 214 mile an hour. It might not be 214 going down the straight, but on those mediums, compared to Josh's hards, it's going to be quite the difference. So here we go then. Across the line, Josh got a better exit than Kian, as Thies sets the fastest lap, but Kian now using the DRS and the ERS is gaining and gaining on the Haas, and he's going to pull to the inside now, and he's going to take P2 in this race, and he gets ahead of Josh. Josh can do nothing to defend. Kian Reynolds up into P2 as further back. Josh and Smithy now battling for P4. We thought Typical would be on the back of them. They're battling all the way as Typical tries to get the switch back, trying to make it a three-car battle, but can't quite do it. Smithy goes deep, and that's going to allow Typical to get up into P5. We've got a yellow further back. I think that's Power dropping down to P10, and that is allowed Smithy just keep his nose in there, and he's making contact, and he's spun Typical into the wall. Smithy has made contact with Typical, and that allows Erosia to get up into P5 because Smithy lost so much time. I think Smithy was at fault there, but I'm not sure how much space Typical could have left more. But Typical dropping down to P9 now as Erosia is being overtaken by Smithy. So Josh holds on. No, Josh gains P4 because Smithy was 4th. All happening on lap 23 now. 10 to go. Kian Reynolds. Here's the plan. Overtake these. Get a 3-second gap. Win the race to get your championship hopes back up and alive. 14 points between Thies and Kian. Kian sets the fastest lap of the race. So that will be his extra point at the moment. So 14 points between these two. If it finishes like this, it'll be 20, but if it swaps, it will be 6, which can be a big moment in the championship. As Smithy and Erosia are battling as typical G has made another mistake, I think. Oh, it's gone from bad to worse after potentially being on the same strat as Kian, caught in a collision with Smithy. Not sure how that will go down. It's on the stream, so it will be investigated, but Josh staying around just over a second behind the top 2 as Power now makes a spin. Has a spin. Thies, what must be going through his mind? Using all his ERS down to nearly 1% as Arsenal's left session, that's fine. Kian has actually used all his ERS. So it's a battle of speed, it's a battle of the mediums versus the hards. Thies just has a little bit more than Kian. You can use and deplete your ERS so fast around this track. But it will be about who maintains the pressure, who keeps their head cool. Kian is within the 1 second window. And now all gloves really are coming off. So here we go, first attempt for Kian Reynolds on lap 25. Thies tries to break the toe. Reynolds 9 tenths, 8 tenths, 7 tenths, 6 tenths. And it's going to be about 5 tenths as they head into turn 1. Not quite this time, Kian. Maybe next time around. Josh has just lost so much time to them. He's really not. Pole sitter to P3. Not quite the race he was after, but it'll be another podium if he can keep the gap to the other Josh, who's trying to get, I think, his first podium in EXFL. Erosia, another top 5 finish for him. As Power 1 gets a penalty. He's into the pit lane, so that was a speeding penalty. Triple G, P9, will probably be P8 because of one of his penalties. Seb keeping quiet. At the moment, he'll be P6 at the moment. And he'll gain on Smithy. That could be a little battle in the championship duel. I think that Smithy's got all guns going for him at the moment, but after that collision, you never know. But we have to focus our attention to the front 2. They've had a lot of moments, mostly good. I can't remember any really bad. Let's not create any, shall we? 7 laps to go then, as soon as they cross the line. This seems like it for Kian Reynolds, who's gone a bit deep into the right-hander, and the left-hander gives him a really bad exit. So Erosia gets a penalty now, and he won't be on for P4, but Kian now. 9 tenths was the gap when they crossed the line last lap. Now it's 7 tenths, so it should be about 3 tenths as they head into turn 1 now. As correct, once again, we've got a yellow, and that is Seb! Seb has spun it I'm guessing he went onto the curb, the yellow strip curb, and that has allowed Warren to get within a second of the Haas. Haas not having a good day at the moment. From what was promised, turned to a bit of a disappointment. Kian, 3rd time lucky maybe, next time out on the straight, but he's just got to keep with these. And Warren's now made a mistake. A safety car right now, who would that benefit? Josh? Seb? Typical probably, as they're the only ones not to have a penalty. I guess these, because it's a few laps where he can breathe, but that will allow Kian to gain right up to the back of him. He's lost a few tenths this time around. He's going to really need to have a good final sector and a good exit. That's what he's been struggling on from what I can see so far this race. 6 tenths the gap. It needs to stay like that as they cross the line for him to get anywhere near the close enough slipstream. That's a better exit, I think. No, it's not. Thies just has the better exit with that setup he has. Power pits, and he's going to be lapped now by the top 2. Kian, who's going to get it to about 5 tenths, I think, this time. Not even that. 6 tenths. No, it is 5 tenths. Never mind. But Kian running out of laps because this is not the main thing he needs to do. He needs to overtake these and get a 3-second gap. He needs to do what he did in Bahrain, but this time do it successfully. He had the 3-second gap with 2 laps to go and then bottled it to give Chaz the win. Kian wants to take redemption from Bahrain. As typical. is battling Seb and gets into P7. And that will be a legitimate overtake at the moment because neither of them have a penalty. 6/10 staying the same pretty much as they enter turn 10. Kian can afford to push a bit more. These, not really sure. I don't know how many. I'll quickly check how many warnings he has. Has These had any warnings the last time we... No, he's still a clean boy. He's still not got any warnings. He's keeping his cool. And I think that's why he's leading the World Championship, because he has kept the most cool under pressure. But Kian seems a lot closer this time round. It was 8/10 last time, now it's 6/10. It might not be enough. I think he needs to be within half a second, maybe 4/10, to have any chance at trying to get alongside the Ferrari. But he's gaining, and he's using everything, but he doesn't seem quite close enough. He's going to keep his foot in there, but yeah, it was just never going to work when he broke that late and still had to turn in. And these, one more lap could make the difference. One more lap, these has held off the charging Aston Martin, who's really sending it into corners, taking lines that I don't think anyone else has so far in this race. Josh keeping the gap. I think Josh just made a big mistake a few laps ago when it went from 1.2 to 2.4. He's got a good enough gap to Josh, even if he gets another penalty. Should be fine. Rosier, let's look at penalties. We know what tyres everyone's on. It says in the top right anyway. And you can clearly see on the car. So, typical. Can he gain 7.5 seconds to Smithy? Smithy might get a penalty, of course, for his collision with typical, so we never know. Looking further back, 6/10, 5/10. Kian really needs to perfect these last 3 corners, and it's again just not the great exit. These, is he going to break the toe? Yes, he is. Once, twice. Kian just cannot get close enough to the Ferrari. These taking the Russell line, taking defence, and he's going to get the better exit. But Kian's still going to try and maintain his pace round the long right-hander of turn 3 into the end of sector 1 of turn 4. He seems closer, but it's just the second sector where it falls away from him, and it goes to 6 or 7/10. Can he keep within the vicinities of a few car lengths of that Ferrari? Time is running out, and if he overtakes these next lap, it's a second a lap he needs, or he really needs to hope Thieves makes a crucial and big mistake. But Thieves keeping his cool at the moment, and he's looking set to take a 3rd win of the season, and he'll have won half the races if that's true. 3 wins in 6 rounds, and he didn't even race in one of them. So he's really the driver to beat at the moment, and Kian is trying to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at the driver to beat. Josh has got 6 seconds now, so he's going to have to be a bit more on edge, as Josh, behind him, only needs to find 7/10. Kian seems a lot closer this time. 4/10. Oh, but again, it's just that second last corner, but I'm not doubting it this time. He seems a whole lot closer to the back of that Ferrari, and like I said, if he overtakes him now, he's going to need to pull a second lap as he goes around the outside and switches to the inside of the Ferrari. Kian Reynolds takes the lead of the race. Thieves tries to hold it around the outside, can't quite. The Aston Martin is into the lead. Thieves gave it everything, and now he's going to have to try and sit behind. He's using his ERS, he's going to try and get back, and Thieves is going to try and send it to the outside. Round the outside goes Thieves. Can't quite get him, but he's going to try to switch back on the Aston Martin, and he's got so much better traction that he takes the lead. He regains it. Kian's going to send it on the Ferrari and force him out, and Thieves might just have to settle for second now. What a battle. Kian Reynolds takes the lead, and now he's going to have to really push like he's never pushed before. 3 laps, 3 seconds, and at the moment it looks like Thieves still has this under control. We got a yellow, I think that's typical. He's made a mistake, so he's down in P8 after pushing, trying to get Smithy. He's lost a place to Seb. Kian Reynolds on lap 30 takes the lead of the race, but Thieves is still managing to keep within that 3-second range. That's all he needs to do. We got a yellow. Typical is out. Typical is out of the race, and that's a very disappointing end to his debut. After what could have been a lot of promise, he will try again next time. Hopefully, he doesn't give up. Hopefully, these now with the DRS, he just has to stay within the second, and that's all Kian can do. Kian can try and mount a penalty maybe, but he has to do it fairly, and he has to hope Thieves makes a mistake. He's running out of time, and maybe if he had 10 more laps, maybe he would be able to, but keep in mind his mediums are also going off. These hards, I don't think have made even a dent at the moment. Warren looks like he will be P8, his power will be P9. Seb will be P7 probably, even if Smith gets a penalty. I think the gap is big enough. Rosier will be P5. Josh, yep, definitely P4s. Then the other Josh, definitely P3. And it seems like these two will swap at the end, because it doesn't seem like Thieves is going to crap. He's just going to keep within the 3 seconds. Maybe he'll try and move. He's a racer, he will go for it. But yeah, just keeping closer to Kian, and Kian even kept to Thieves. Kian really on edge, just trying to break the second gap barrier, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be second. He's going to be a return to the podium, which is so much better than how he's been performing since round 3 onwards. But I'm sure he would have wanted the win today, and I'm sure he'll say GG to Thieves at the moment, but we don't know what could happen. There's still 2 laps left. We're on the penultimate lap of the Spanish Grand Prix. We've lost Chaz, Tigo, Arsenal and Typical, and at the moment Thieves is trying to regain the lead to try and win this thing on track, but he doesn't even need to. He can win this on penalties. Final check to see if Thieves has any warnings. Nope, no warnings. Thieves has just kept his nose clean. Started second on the grid. Led was second. And Thieves is going to try and actually get round the outside of Kian Reynolds. This battle is not over yet. Kian sends it on Thieves once again. We've seen that move so many times. And this is allowing Josh now to gain. Look how much he's gained. He won't really gain any positions with his penalties, but you never know what's going to happen. We're heading to the last lap, and Thieves is showing that he's not going to give up without a fight. He doesn't want to settle for second just to win this race of penalties. He's going to try and have a go round the outside once again, but he's going to try the switchback. And he seems like he has much better traction as he almost hits the back of Kian with his hits the rear left tyre of Kian with his front wing. So on the last lap, take what I still think is an unnecessary risk. But keep in mind, Josh, if he gets past these, you never know how much time you can lose in a lap. This is it. This is the final lap of the weekend. Lap 33 of the Spanish Grand Prix. Kian has used everything. Thieves has actually used more than everything. He's down to 0, but he's still going to try round the outside of Kian Reynolds into turn 1. Kian sends it deep. He actually goes off the track a bit, and that allows Josh to rightfully gain up to the back of the lot. And the top 3 are covered by 2/10 again. Here comes Thieves. He's going to try round the outside then. Josh is going to send it to the inside. Thieves tries round the outside. Josh sees a gap, and he's going to take the lead of the race. Josh, he's going to go into P1. Kian, nearly 3 wide. Thieves sends it, and it might have made contact. Thieves takes the back the lead. Josh holds P3. Kian has lost the lead, and he's still going to send it in a corner. You do not want to overtake. Thieves is making contact, and what's happened? Kian Reynolds in the gravel, and they glitched into each other. Thieves retakes the lead. What happened there? They glitched into each other. Thieves retakes the lead on the last lap. Kian Reynolds is still going to be P2 at this rate, but Josh, keep in mind, is gaining heaps of time on them as well. But Thieves out in front in what is a final lap I've never even seen before. An overtake that was a bit anticlimactic because I thought there was going to be a big crash, but they've all managed to survive. They've all kept facing forward. Kian glitched, and it's not going to quite be the win today. It'll be P2. Josh will drop down to P3 from being off pole. But for the 3rd time in EXFL this season, Thieves wins the Spanish Grand Prix. He wins out. Kian Reynolds 2nd, Josh 3rd. The other Josh will be 4th. Oh no, Josh beat... Oh yes, of course, because Josh had 6. Josh Crabtree gets on the podium because of the amount of time Josh lost with his 6 seconds of penalties. It is not BCFC Josh. It is Josh Crabtree on the podium for the first time in EXFL. Arozia gets P5, Smithy P6, Seb, I think he's nearly run out of fuel, but he was going a bit slowly there, but he will be P7. Warren P8, Power's already finished, he's P9. Thieves, that's half the season belonging to him. He extends his championship lead over Josh by 13 points. And really, he really is the one to beat now. Thieves wins in Spain. Another crazy ending to the race. Jeez. Kian says, I'll take it, P2, but obviously he would have liked the win. Yep, he had no grip on the last lap. Yeah, Kian on his screen, Thies ghosted through him, apparently. We try again next. Actually, Kim Reynolds is missing Monaco next week. I just realised. That's unfortunate for him. Oh, I was so close. I was so scared they were all going to come together. All three of them. Kim Reynolds at least gets the fastest lap point. As well as P2. So that's the best he's got. P2 fastest lap. That's twice he's got that this season. And he breaks the streak now. He gets the fastest lap for a second time this season. Different driver in every race has got one now. He breaks that streak. So now the only thing I think that's left different is the pole sitters. But I think... Actually, yeah, because Josh got pole, that might carry on. Anyway, Thies takes the win. Ahead of Kian Reynolds, ahead of Josh Crabtree. Josh, with those 6 seconds, has lost out to the other Josh. Erosio completes the top 5, yeah, by 9/10. That's how much Josh lost in the last lap, battling the top 2. And another chapter in this amazing season is done. I'll see if we have time for interviews. Right. Let's first invite the winner. And then Kian. And then I'll try and find Josh. Right, I've invited them all. And let's see who joins. There we go, Thies has joined. Make sure to include your audio. That's fine. Yeah, it's fine, don't worry. Have you included your audio, Thies? Okay, cool.
Yes, I did.
Kian also make sure to include your audio. Right,
yeah, I've included it.
Wow, well, what a race from you two. Thank you for all the action. I guess we'll start off with the race winner, Thies. You have now won half the races now of this season and take a commanding, I think, 20-point lead in the championship. How do you feel?
Yeah, I didn't expect it actually to be that good. I raced 4 races and won 3, but in all of those 3 races I got a good fight, so I think consistency helped me today.
Yes.
By not taking any warnings all race, and yeah, congrats to Kian and Josh, and actually also the other Josh to get the podium.
Yes, of course, you got no warnings whatsoever, which in the end won you the race. I just want to ask, and this is a question to both of you, what happened on that final lap with the ghosting?
I just had no grip, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna try and take it home, because I kept, in all them like power corner states, I don't know if you saw, laps before like turn 4, I just had no grip coming out the corner, so I literally
I saw it, like
I just had no grip.
You were diving like crazy, which was, it was on the edge, but it was fine, it was nice, and then I wasn't gonna give up on it.
I channeled in Max Verstappen, so.
So like, I saw you had a bad exit, so I wanted to go on the outside, because if I stayed on behind you, Josh would have overtaken me too, so it actually was a defensive move, and there was a bit of collisions, but I don't think it was too bad.
It ended with them ghosting in each other.
I don't know what happened.
I thought like Ghost 3 minutes, I was in the gravel, I was like, what the fuck?
Because at one split frame, it looked like you were on top of each other, like you
oh my.
glitched on, and then you just glitched between, and then just...
I'm kind of sad now. I was
Yeah,
trying to stop me,
like,
but you know.
I was about to back off because
Still
Kane
live,
was
Kian, calm
really
down.
sending it there. But,
Yeah, she's lying.
But I'm
Yeah,
sure
but
you're gonna be
then-
happy with that, Kian. Back on the podium after quite a bad run of loss.
Yeah. I mean, I think my strat worked. Started on the softs instead of the mediums. Obviously, I knew I wasn't going to have the pace at the start. I mean, obviously at the start I did, but then they would die and they would catch up and overtake. But yeah, that was my plan, to mid-safety car and hop on the mediums, and that's exactly what happened. But obviously the pen caught
Yeah,
me
like
out. But
on the first stint, did you see what happened with Josh? Because he
Bro,
he seemed
it's
to
'cause-
miss the corner, and then you overtook him, and they had a very bad exit because of it. And then I could overtake him as well.
yeah, you just you might be on full TC, but you're still washed. So it is what it is.
Anyway, next time out, I believe you won't be racing, Kian, in Monaco.
These.
Yes.
Us battling on the last lap lost Josh a podium.
Yeah, it did. It actually did.
Oh,
he
was
lost
raging.
he lost 2 or 3
He lost the
seconds
podium,
in
yeah.
the last lap.
Lost
and-
so
Yeah.
much time. Look, that only loved the judge, but that also was why I was doing it, because I knew he was gonna lose very much time if we were gonna battle with 3.
Yeah,
So
I thought, you know what, I had got P2 anyway, so I just thought, if we battle, it's going to slow down, he's going to be raging.
You aren't
Yeah.
racing next week, are you, Kian?
No, I'm in Scotland, so...
Unfortunately not. So race 200 of EXFL. I'm sure Thieves will love to add to his win tally in the Principality for his 4th win, but
Yeah.
obviously there are going to be others to stop him. Chaz unfortunately failed today. Hopefully he might. Hopefully he'll be back next week to try and get back to the front. Kian's found his form.
Yeah.
Let's see if his teammate can. And well done to Josh on his maiden podium. The other Josh, unfortunately,
Oh,
pole
well
to
done,
4th.
Josh.
Will drop down. Well, we'll see you next time for race 200. That has been the EXFL Tier 2 Season 5 Spanish Grand Prix, and it was pure pain for Chaz, and it was a pure win for Thieves. See you next time out, folks.